Hello, hi. My name is Jared, aka Prosperity42, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Walkin and Talkin, wherein myself and some other Blizzard nerd are gonna do a little bit of walking and a whole lot of talking. I'm joined today by the indomitable Whoop for another discussion. Whoop seems to be laying down.
I awaken
At the ready position.
at the ready.
I don't know if you guys will have noticed anything. I completely had my UI up for that. Apologies, but now we're in cinematic mode. But hey, we're here. If you will have noticed, we're on. It's more pixely in here.
It's
to me.
really old looking.
Mm-hmm.
It looks old.
It's got kind of a, how would you say, classical feel to it.
It's like, you know how when you stumble upon that like oldies station on the radio, but it's actually like low key, really good.
Yeah.
That's this.
Yeah. We're here.
We're here.
We're here. Well, classic, everyone. But hey, you know, it's a thing. BlizzCon.
We're gonna walk and we're gonna talk in all the low poly glory.
Yes. Yes, indeed. But BlizzCon has come and gone, and with it, we have access to so much news and information.
Too many things.
So very many things happened this weekend. We'll touch on a couple of them. I think the focus of this video is going to be about WoW Classic. We'll talk about some of the rest of the stuff a little bit later, but we're pretty excited about the WoW Classic demo. And yeah, so I guess that brings us to the first little talking point of this video. What do you think about WoW Classic?
It's such a direct question with so many answers. Like, it's not even I'm gonna try to so hard not to just be the most long-winded person ever. In a word, it's so good, man. Like, it's better than I expected it to be.
Well, because we didn't get the classic experience. We didn't get any of this. Like, we didn't start until. I mean, we didn't get the retail classic experience.
No, because we started playing in 2006.
Yes.
And that was I know I could probably look up the birthday of my account, but
I'm sure you could.
In my head, it's always either been the very tail end of Classic or the very head end of BC, and of the two, I'm gonna pick the tail end of Classic because I can say that I played in vanilla. So
right.
But either way, it wasn't in any sort of like serious capacity. It was like low level shenanigans, just like we're doing now, really.
Yeah, it didn't pick up for us until Wrath of the Lich King, and I didn't consider myself a WoW player until, like a serious WoW player until Wrath of the Lich King came out. When me and you both had a mad dash to get to level 55 so that we could make Demon Hunters Death Knights.
We sure did, and oh man, it just brings back so many memories of things that I didn't even know I had memories of.
Yeah.
You know, because when I'm playing, because I've played the demo mostly as Horde, and you know, for the last, I don't know, ever since you know, Wrath at the earliest was when I primarily went Alliance. But thinking back on experiences before that, before I picked a main character and started raiding, like the bulk of my time was making low-level characters and bringing them to the Barrens and then abandoning them. So
yeah, like
it's way more nostalgic than I expected it to be, because I never really thought about that.
Yeah, and like that's something that always kind of bugged me, is that like I didn't ever have like a definitive starting experience. Like, it was just a smattering of leveling low level characters
Oh, yeah.
until I got a character to max level, and then
I mean,
that was it. That was pretty much
my definitive starting experience. Was
Yeah.
having on my character sheet, like, or character select screen, just filled up with between like level 10 and 30 characters, like just chilling.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of them, because it's so. But even getting to like level 30 was so. Anyway, we're gonna get.
Yeah.
I don't want to get ahead of myself because I want to say so many things.
Yeah.
We have a limited kind of time frame. It's good.
But I mean,
it feels like a proper adventure. It feels like when you play Skyrim for a long time and then you play Oblivion, it's like, wow, you realize what things are in Oblivion that you didn't even know you missed in Skyrim. It's things like not having quests tracked on your map. It's things like not having things like handed to you or shown, hey, go here for this. You have to kind of find things in adventure. And even the mobs that you find there, you better watch out if you're fighting things your level, because they're going to get you.
Right.
And even things below or green level to you, if you're not, like, you can't just roll your face on the keyboard and get through it. It feels like a proper RPG. And I think it's something that modern WoW has really lost. It's gained a lot of things, and I don't want to say that one is better than the other, but
they're just entirely different experiences.
Totally. Like, I would play Classic for different reasons than I would play Live.
Yeah, and that, like, what you brought up about, like, the difference between Skyrim and Oblivion, that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what like the experience that they're hoping to capture. Like, I remember the days of Oblivion very fondly. I mean, going back and playing Oblivion is frustrating at times because you get used to the systems of the newer games, and they're not there, or if they are there, they're in a completely different capacity. Like something that you don't really think of. Something that definitely startled me whenever I first rolled a character is I completely forgot that there was scrolling quest text that you had to sit through in order to accept the quest. I mean, they added
it's an option
a button in that you can make it immediate, but they just made that the default after Classic. So it's not even, it's something that we've taken completely for granted.
And when you see, here's what really got me and like had me like going, was because when you have that scrolling text turned on, it's like when you click on the NPC and the quest text starts scrolling, it's that you can hear like a quill on parchment, like scribbling it out. Like, it just feels so. It feels so good. It feels like, I mean, it feels like this because it is this. It feels like an old school RPG video game.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like they took elements from tabletop games like D&D and all this stuff and translated it into a video game, and that's what you see. And
that's, you know, it's great that you say that, because that's 100% what they did. They made this game based off of because I think one of the lead developers of WoW, whenever it was first coming out, he was a dungeon master. Like they all got together and played D&D. Like all the devs that were working on this game that had been working on Warcraft for years at that point. They all played D&D together. This was all stuff that they were surrounded by tabletop games in their earliest incarnations, and you can tell because I mean, for example, and this is the proof that they were drawing influence heavily from Dungeons and Dragons, is Paladin. It's a class that was in the original Dungeons and Dragons. It had a spell that paladins are still known for to this day. Basically, if you have a paladin in any game whatsoever, they have a spell called Lay on Hands.
Yeah.
And it's universal, and it all started in D&D. So,
Yeah.
It's just stuff like that.
It's things like, because even to this day, if you go to the WoW website and you're like looking up what the official kind of stuff is on races and classes and all this stuff, one of the key points and highlights when you click on mage is that they can make food and water for their party. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, okay, that seems useful. I mean, you need food and water, like from the outside, right? And then you go play live and you find out that food and water spell is almost completely useless.
Yeah.
Like, you never use it. But when you go back this far and you find out that you actually need food and water to survive anything, and you're either going to be grouping with the mage or buying it from a vendor for gold, and it's not cheap, especially to get the good stuff.
Yeah.
You realize how valuable that is, especially, me, because I've played a mage for the whole demo so far, is, I'll go out and I'll do a bunch of quests before going back into town, and I'll run out of water and food multiple times, but I can just remake it. It's not a concern of mine. And then I go to make another character. I played a warrior for a little bit, and I realize, oh shit, I'm out of food.
Yeah.
And I'm stranded here. I'm not going to make it. I have to hearth to get food and come all the way back.
Yeah.
It's just things like that are so important to an RPG. And like I said, it's things that have been lost over time. In live WoW, there have been plenty of things that have been gained in live WoW. It's just two totally different feels.
Yeah, and something that, like, at least the questing experience, and neither of us really had any experience with raiding or anything in game, end game, that is, in Classic, is that they captured the sense of, like, in this is probably the other defining trope that was gained from all the days of Dungeons and Dragons, but like you start in a tavern or in a city, you get a quest, and you start an adventure to go see that quest completed. And they really captured the essence of that, I feel like, with Classic WoW. Like it's not like you're not in a group of adventurers like you are in Dungeons and Dragons, but it's very much like you go to town, you make sure you have the provisions that you need to make it through the adventure that you're being set forth on,
exactly,
by the NPCs in the town, and then
it's exactly that. It's that feeling of, I'm in town, I have a plan for my quests, and I have to go out on this adventure, and I'm in town. I need to get things, provisions, exactly like you say, to go out and make this happen. I need food and water. I need potions if I can get it. I need to clear my inventory. I'm going to be out for a minute. Things like that. But it's funny that you mentioned, being in a party versus not being in a party, like in D&D. The difference between playing this solo versus if you do have a party, even just two people, makes a huge difference in how much success you will have or what kind of experience you'll have. Because if you go out and you're doing a quest, if you start, like if me and you started and did every quest exactly at the same time, it would be greatly easier than if we did it by ourselves.
Absolutely.
And, you get in situations, I don't group in Classic or in live WoW for anything other than doing group content. Like group quests, even ones that are labeled, here's a group quest. You don't do that. You just go do it. And things like rare spawns and things like that are meant to be hard, most classes can just solo it. When you're out in the open world, it doesn't feel like there's peril around every corner. It doesn't feel like you have to be careful with what you do, because that every you have so many things. Every class has self-healing, and even if you get in a pinch, and you die, you can running back is really easy, which is another thing. Run back is crazy back in these times. It's just so.
Yeah.
There's so many things about this that make it so, especially for a player who isn't interested, and this is a personal thing. Someone who isn't really interested so much anymore in high-end rating and progression rating or even PvP or anything. I just play as a casual. If I don't get anything out of leveling characters in Live WoW. No. It doesn't do anything for me. It's filling up an arbitrary bar because I set that goal for myself. Because I feel like these things are level 20, by the way. We should probably turn around, or we're gonna get aggro and killed.
And that's something that you have to worry about constantly in Classic, which is another thing people don't really like.
Scaling with you is something that I have despised. I've never thought it was a good idea. Like quests scaling, it's a hard thing to do because I like being able in Live WoW to finish quests out to the end without them going green or whatever.
Yeah. But
the feeling of, oh shit, I'm in a bad area. These things are red to me. Yeah. They're 5 or 6 levels higher than me. I should not be here. Like that's a feeling you can't get in Live WoW. That It's like I say, it's one of those RPG things that lost to time. In favor of other things.
Yeah, I mean, because like you hear stories about Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, about how they'll abruptly end because someone like, I don't know, awakens a Tarrasque, or or like deletes the universe somehow, like that kind of stuff. I mean, those are very, very wildly extreme examples, but I mean, the sentiment's still there.
It's things it's the unexpected happening.
Yeah, and there's not really a sense of difficulty with leveling anymore, and that brings me to the next thing I want to talk about. All the rest of the things that were announced at BlizzCon, and I think I want to start off by talking about one particular thing that was said, and this is a perfect segue because we're talking about Classic WoW, and to bring it back into modern WoW. In the Q&A, Ian Hazakostas was asked what they were going to do about the leveling experience in live, because it's garbage. It is absolutely garbage. Like the changes that they made, they were great changes, like making the world scale, making it to where you can go to any zone, and experience more of the world than probably what most people were able to experience in the current leveling system before they made those changes. That was great, but it was too little, too late, I think.
And I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna finish that thought by saying that there isn't anything to incentivize like a feeling of adventure in leveling anymore. Like, and that's probably just me being jaded as hell.
But it's true though, when you look at things, especially because I wouldn't have thought that, honestly, before playing this demo and being reminded of some of the things that I had honestly forgot about. Like I remember the first add-on I ever installed was like Quest Helper that did what modern WoW does, put it on your map and stuff. I remember things like, but in live WoW, like you say, the changes to leveling that they've done, I think are great because, it lets you, like I said, see quest lines through all the way. If you like a zone, you're not going to out level it and have to leave and all the quests are great. You can stay in that zone and that's fine. You're never gonna, there's plus and minuses. You're never gonna stumble across things that don't give you anything, like great quests or whatever. But you're also never gonna stumble into these high-level areas that make you feel like you need to turn around because you're not where you're supposed to be. There's a certain feeling that is associated with that.
Sure.
But I think, especially like I said, after playing this, because some of the changes that they made in live WoW to leveling have certainly made the process longer, and you can do whatever zone you want, this kind of thing. But it's still like I don't ever feel like I'm in danger.
Right.
I don't ever feel like I need to stop and recover after fighting something that was hard and barely surviving or whatever. I think part of what would improve it or bring it in line with what we feel in this that gives us that sense of adventure is adjusting health and mana levels, and how you actually interact with health and mana. And this type of change would affect more than just leveling, but
sure,
I think it's what they need to do, because no matter what class you play, whether you are a mana class or not a mana class, after you fight a few mobs, you need to stop and eat or drink. It's just part of it.
Yeah, unless you're a warlock, but
unless you're even still, you certainly have some classes have to do it certainly less than others, which is something that makes classes different from each other, which is good. Me as a mage and you versus as a shaman, we both have health and mana, right? But we function completely differently.
Yeah,
I think that's something that is lost. That sense of needing supplies to be on that adventure.
Yeah, and, like the moment they started like across the board adding secondary resource to every class forever, I think that's the moment that departure like made it impossible for that to ever be another or an eventuality that will get something like that back in live, which is a shame a little bit. But on that note, like I think that the live servers could definitely use something. It's like a part of the question that we're talking about right now. A part of the question that was asked was, do you think that we'll ever see like a level squish as an answer to the issue of there are just too many levels.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why it's so homogenous and so, for lack of a better term, boring to go through the leveling experience in WoW today in Classic, or not in live servers, because there's just so much to get through. If they were to slow down leveling, no one would do it.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's like you say, or like I was saying earlier, they've done a lot and it's been good, but the main thing it's done is slowed it down. But you still have 120 levels to get to. You know, it's very daunting to think about.
And part of the answer that was given was just imagine like not playing WoW for a while. You had a couple of levels at 120, but you log in one day and all of a sudden your paladin is level 60.
Yeah.
Like your item level, 385 paladin is arbitrary number, but either way, you log in and your high item level paladin that was level 120 that's done all these things is now level 60 again.
Yeah, it'd be a weird feeling, and especially because I when I'm thinking about changes to the game, and I think I've brought this up on the show before, I try to think about that WoW player who is completely not in the know, and because like people like us who are on top of things and know what changes are happening and this type of thing, if that happened to us, it wouldn't really affect me. If I saw my level 120 character that I played and now they're level 60, knowing that there was a level squish going to happen,
sure,
I would be prepared for it.
Yeah.
But someone who isn't that way, who logs in and their beloved character, that is level cap, and we might actually aggro this thing, I think.
Maybe.
That is level cap and they've done a bunch of stuff on, is now half the level that it was. I can definitely see how jarring it would be.
Yeah.
Because that person, a lot of people play one character.
Oh yeah.
They don't
Absolutely.
think about the leveling experience because they only did it once.
Yeah.
A lot of people are that way, just as many people as are, people all that have one of every character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's pretty even. You'd be surprised to find. So it's the type of thing that the people that are affected by it really see the difference. But, you know, if you are that person that has one character and all of a sudden your character is half the level that it was, that may not feel good. Talking about level squish, looking at some of the things, you know, from, you know, things like Reddit and forums and things that people have proposed as a possible level squish option, I don't think that's a good way to go. It's such a weird thing, you know, make it, you know, keep it 120 or whatever it is. And there has to be a way to make the process from 1 to cap, whatever that cap is, less boring and slow, while maintaining the ability to, like, see zones out from start to finish, or you know what I mean, to go to any zone you want and level there. Right. There's got to be a solution there somewhere, but I don't think level squish is the answer, man.
Yeah, and that, you know, that might be the case, but I mean the other part to that is, like, as it stands in live servers right now, you know, we have this we don't really get to see the feeling of progression. Like we can see, obviously we're gaining levels as we're going through it. It still does the whole new level, here's what you get this level, but though, like, as we keep progressing through the levels, as the level cap gets higher and higher, the spaces between those here's what's new pop-ups gets further and further away, and I think that's the feeling that needs to be addressed more so than anything. Like, the amount of time that it takes to level from level 1 all the way to max, it's arbitrary. It doesn't matter. Like, you're gonna do it no matter what. Either you're gonna do it or you're gonna buy a level boost. But for the people that are leveling naturally, I think that changes need to be made, and I think they need to be made
definitely
within the next expansion, because, oh boy, wow.
And you know, you make a really good
cannon
upright orc. But you know, that's a good point. I think that's definitely the way to go about it, is to increase the frequency of getting something for your levels. You know, it could be something as much as, because I don't think they're going to go back to the classic talents anytime soon.
No.
As much as we've argued for that, I don't think they're ever going to do it. But what they could do with the current talent system, make it every 10 levels, make it every 5 levels. You know, instead of having these huge gaps, you can have things, you know, put a bunch of more passive effects in there, so that it's not people cluttering up their action bars, because they're still all about the bloat. You know, they're trying to prune things back still, and, you know, I don't think that's going to change either. You know, give it, you know, a big fun active ability keep it every 30 levels, but every 10 or every 5, you get to pick between some type of passive something, or not even something you get to pick from. You just get something. I don't know. It's something. It's because, you know, when you make a new character in live right now, it's a pace of about every 2 levels. You do get a new spell, right? But that lasts until, like, level 50, and then you have everything. And then it's like, oh, I don't get my next spell until level 70. Then, oh, I don't get a spell until level 5.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're level 100 and you've got your final talent. Yeah. And there's nothing else you're going to get.
And it's like part of the design philosophy that they've had for the last couple of years has definitely been more towards, like, homogenization. I think with the next expansion they should definitely have a massive departure from that, because I don't see the problem getting any better. I only see it getting worse as time goes on, if they keep on the track of having classes be more homogenous, because it's not just like classes being more homogenous in general, but the specializations that they have are a lot more homogenous. I think having a more open talent system that and this is something we've talked about, like, so many times over, I think that the right way to go about design of the classes in this game is to have a base kit that your class has access to. The base kit gives you Like you have things that are just granted to you by the base kit, and then your talent system, your specialization dictates how that base kit is manipulated towards the specialization that you're going towards. And I think that's how everything should be. And it would lend itself to a lot more of those moments of, oh, I have something new in the leveling process. It just works better. And the classic talent system, I don't care that it's you get a point every level and you get to put the point in and you have like a small incremental increase in power that you feel like you're putting some sort of choice into. That's not what I care about as much as I just care about the fact that every class has a base toolkit and your specialization diverts that toolkit to be specialized into one particular thing.
It can be summarized by having class talents and not spec talents.
Yes.
You have class talents that, expand. I'm not going to repeat what you said. You said it.
Right. But I mean, the point is, we need lots of things. This guy really wants to fight me.
He does. He just challenged me too. But can I just comment? Because
Sure.
we're fixing to wrap. But let me just comment. Throughout this episode, we've had so many people join us and throw in a wave and even talk in /S. When's the last time you saw someone talk in /S?
Well, in raid every week, because we have a lot of people that have a lot of shenanigans in /say. But like out in the open world, I have never, since Cataclysm have I seen anyone talk in say.
Enter Crossroads, there's so many people around. It just feels like, but the value of being friendly, right, is so much higher.
Oh,
because,
for sure.
Everybody is here, right? And if you're gonna be a dick about it, that's gonna spread, and people aren't gonna want to play with you. It's that much.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we went kind of off the rails. We did this one pretty live.
Yeah. You could say that.
I think we knew that was going to happen, but the points about leveling and stuff, that's very relevant to this and seeing how it used to be and where it is now and how to bridge the gap between the two.
Yeah. It's and this is my final thoughts on the matter. But people that have been against WoW Classic or the people that have been uneasy about them bringing WoW Classic back in, the main argument that's made is that the exact same thing that J. Allen Brack said to answer the question that was brought up the first time all those years ago at BlizzCon. You think you want Classic WoW, but you really don't. No, we do. We know what we want. We want Classic WoW. We want the experience. We want we want more than just what the game systems were. We want what we meant, or what this game meant to us, and what it meant for so many different people, and what it meant to the community that was budding and built up to something that no one could have foreseen happening,
right?
Ever. And
having this out, just this demo has proven that.
Yeah.
That people do want this. It's something that people desperately want. And not even just because of nostalgia and reliving those memories or whatever, but because at this point they've become two completely different games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It might be in the same setting with the same characters, the same classes, and this type of stuff, but it's so different that, playing, because this is another thing we haven't even talked about yet, you get Classic with a subscription to World of Warcraft. You get both. You
get them. You just have them.
You just have them both. But it just, the difference between if you play live for a little bit, then play Classic for a little bit, you'll see that difference because of how different of a game. You don't even have to think of playing the other version of the game. They're two separate games at this point.
Yeah.
That they're just different experiences entirely.
Absolutely.
And it's an experience that the genre. This is getting a little bit bigger picture. The genre of MMO that has been dying for so long, seeing that this type of game can thrive, I don't know. I don't know what type of impact that might have. Seeing that classic WoW can be released again and people will play it just as hardcore as they play live or any other game. That's going to have repercussions in the community at large, in the genre. We'll see what things come out in the next 10 years that try to copy this.
All I'm going to say is WoW 2 2020. Thank you so much for watching, but our feet and our jaws are tired. So see you next week when we walk and talk a little bit more.